Beep, 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 beep. And welcome to the court of the Edijester. How are we doing, good people? Brr. It's sunny out, but I'm cold. I don't know what the hell's going on with me. Age, I suspect. And how are you all? Bunch of aging weirdos. My average viewer is 50. There you go. So I'm not exactly down with the kids, am I? Buy me a coffee, subscribe, do the usual. Become a warrior teacher. Links downstairs. So if you just send me a contact, hello, then we can have a chinwag and you can find out a bit more. Today we're going to have a look at a rather marvelous thread from the ever reliable Malcolm Clark at Twister Film. Yes, good old Malk, indomitable. That's the word when it comes to Malcolm. And here we've got a very interesting link between a man who was arrested and charged for holding a satirical sign mocking Hezbollah's leader and various other bits and bobs. So let's take a look through it and see what Malcolm's got to teach us. So it begins with the first tweet there. Hezbollah hypocrisy. Links as usual in the doobers for you to be able to have a look. It's a scandal. A Jewish man was arrested for joking about the death of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. We should all applaud the elimination of this disgusting misogynist and anti-Semite. And if you're gay, you should especially thank IDF. Here's why. So then you've got a picture of a tweet there from Jonathan Sacerdoti. A British Jew was arrested, detained overnight, and charged for holding a satirical sign mocking Hezbollah's leader. Police claimed it might offend pro-Hezbollah protesters. What's the police? What are they playing at? Absolutely insane. And there you can see, beep, beep, beep. It's got a picture, which I imagine is, in relation to when all those pages exploded and killed a few of them. 2 years ago, Malcolm continues, Nasrallah called for violence against gays with no limits. Here we go. He hated gays so much he urged followers to use slurs rather than the word homosexual. He and Hezbollah's inspiration had long been the rancid bigotry of Ayatollah Khomeini. And then Malcolm actually shows a tweet from himself from September 2024. The leader of Hezbollah is dead, and every lesbian and gay man on the planet should cheer his death to the rafters if there are any remaining at Hezbollah HQ. Last year, Nasrallah called for violence against gay people and with no limits, and you can see a picture of this man here who's now dead, looking like he's having a shake. And then Hezbollah protesters in Beirut often cite the incoherent thoughts of this thankfully well-dead fruitcake. A major feature of Khomeini's theology was his violent hatred of gays. One of the first laws he passed after he returned to Iran in 1979 was the death sentence for gays. While Khomeini argued gays should be exterminated, he had a soft spot, though, for our trans brethren. This strange link is becoming more and more apparent. Trans in the gay away in the Islamist countries. In 1984, a devout Shia called Feridun Mulkara gained an audience with Khomeini and I've lost my page. Hang on, we go back. Gained an audience with Khomeini and tried to convince the murderous mullah he was not a he, Shia, but a she, Shia. It worked. Khomeini issued a fatwa embracing the notion of gender identity and supporting sex change ops for those born in the wrong body. Iran's first gender identity clinic was set up in a hospital named after Khomeini. His support for trans ideology was a disaster for gays, though. It was called the Imam Khomeini Hospital Complex. You can see it there, a picture. For Islamists in Iran and Hezbollah, trans ideology justifies the widespread sterilizing of young gays who are pushed into sex change ops to escape to jail. Or worse, the mullahs even cite their support for trans ideology as proof they are progressive on human rights. And then you've got a link with a picture with a highlighted section of text there. Clergy such as Mohammed Ahmadi Kariminia, 2010, a cleric in the holy city of Qom and one of Iran's foremost proponents of using hormones and surgery to change sex, also boastfully presents Iran's self-proclaimed policies on sex reassignment surgery and transsexuals as a beacon by which human rights can be measured. One could say that a transsexual's right to sex reassignment is an instance of human rights. Isn't this weird? Don't you think? What's been the presence of people who think like this on the international stage? Where have they been? Which organisations internationally have been having them involved? Well, it's a very interesting link, isn't it? that maybe needs some more exploration. Amazingly, some idiots on the left have been willing to buy this baloney. In 2005, the toggle-headed Guardian published an article about trans rights in Iran, which applauded Khomeini's role, with the headline for the ages, a fatwa for freedom. It's just unbelievable. Nasrallah's death prevented him terrorizing women, gays, religious minorities, and liberal Muslims, and removed a man dedicated to the destruction of Israel. The Jewish guy who was arrested was standing up for the values of liberal democracy. Shame our cops refuse to do the same. It really is a most extraordinary situation. And it's a most extraordinary and rather peculiar link, don't you think? But I'll be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this, because it's hit me out the park this morning, this one. But thanks to Malcolm for pointing it out. It's funny how trans seems to appeal to some of the worst regimes in history. This wasn't the first one, not if you go back to 1945 and thereabouts. But then, everything will be revealed in time, I am sure. You go and take a look and let me know what you think in the comments, all right? Great to speak. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.